What's up guys, it's me, Mad Samurai 84 here for my super late edition of February's PS Plus plays. I've been moving, I've been ill, I've had lots of stuff to just do, so I haven't just got around. I've played the games and just getting around to do everything else that comes to just making up these little things just hasn't really happened. But anyway, we got 3 games this month, as usual. One is a launch game, and you've probably played them all and have your own thoughts. But hey, I thought I'd just give my own thoughts and say, hey, this is what I think. Anyway, let's jump in and play the games, and let's talk about them. Basically, I've played them for about a good few hours each. Some I've actually played for quite a bit when I look at it now, and I'll say just the things I like, the things I don't like, and then I'll give thumb scores. A thumb score where I think it's a good game, and another thumb score where I think it's a good offering, and at the end I'll do an overall for the month. The same, is it a good month of games? Was it a good month of offerings, really? Because they are two separate things. Anyway, let's jump in and talk about February's PS Plus games. We kick off the month with Steel Rising. This came out in September 2022. So it's a good about 18 months or so old. I've kind of seen this just the pictures on the store, and I never really looked at it really. But this is basically, it tries to follow the path of trying to be a Souls-like game. It's one of those that's like, all right, we've kind of got to have a similar playstyle to that, where you basically got to kill tough enemies and get their XP, soul, whatever you want to call it, and then you use that to upgrade yourself. But if you kind of die, you get sent back to a save point, and then you've lost all that and you have to restart. Firstly, I am terrible at Souls games and have never finished any of them or their copycats. I usually get tired of the grind, to be honest, but I get why people like them. You know, I played Elden Ring for a bit. It's okay. It's the level design is amazing. What he's done and all that, but it's just the other ones I've played, and it's just kind of the same for me. But I get why people like them. But now, the one thing a lot of those games have lacked, the ones I've played, is an accessibility options, basically to make the game easier. And you know what? They've gone and stuck one of those in here. And I've actually been enjoying the game and not getting too annoyed at it. You can make the enemies a little bit easier, not lose your XP points to spend when you die. So this is tailored. This can be tailored for people who are basically terrible at these games. Can I give you a bit of a fighting chance to play through it? And once you've done that, you started the game. But as soon as you start the game, you do wonder if you're kind of playing a PS4 game. And then you realise it isn't. And then you find out there isn't even a PS4 version of the game. Then after that revelation, you'll wonder why and expect that this isn't the prettiest of games. Though it does have some nice set pieces in the level design and the background. You know, there's plenty of dull textures here, ugly human character models for basically throughout the game. But where it does look great is in your character model. Aegis, you are, and you're a robot, really. We've got some really nice details, and obviously you can see that the most time has been spent in the graphics department. There is making the main character look great, and the main character does look really nice, very well detailed when you see it in the cutscenes. And the game itself, really, it's like its master. dodge, dodge, roll, attack, and repeat. It's nice, and you can get some combos in going in with your light and heavy attacks before needing to jump out of the way of the enemy from taking a massive blow of some chain ball on a chain in the face or whatever it may be. And you will get rather interesting different types of weapons like swords, claws, pistols, chains, and more. So it's quite good. You've got quite a nice, cool, like all different weapons, and everything can be kind of like upgraded. And yeah, it's kind of cool. I have been quite enjoying it so far. The traversing controls are okay. They can feel probably slightly annoying when you're jumping from like ledge to ledge and you mess up. It just doesn't feel like it's perfect, but it's good enough where without being like the tightest of controls, it's still rather playable. While I have actually been enjoying the game, because of its accessibility options, the game still feels rather soulless. I know that seems like it's a pun because it's, like a Souls-like game, and also being in control of a robot, but it just feels like there's not much soul in the game, if you know what I mean. But I think my favourite aspect of the game is its setting. Being in like some kind of like alternate French Revolution, where the robots are trying to kill everyone, like kill the uprising. Really, that King Louis the blah blah he has a army of robots, and basically he sent them out to just get rid of all the humans. Really, anyone who tries to cause a revolution, no thank you. But overall, I've enjoyed my time with the game, and I think I will carry on for a bit longer. You never know, I might actually finish my first ever Souls-like game, but that will be only because of the option to make it a little bit easier, a bit more tolerable for me. I don't mind a challenge. But I just don't have time or the patience now in my life at my age to kind of get into it. But I would love to get into it and get better at it, but I don't have the time, and there's other things I would like to play. You know what I mean? But yeah, overall it's not bad. Graphics are okay in parts and ugly in parts. It controls all right, and it's just basically like a Souls-like game. So if you've played one of those, you kind of have an idea, really. But when we look at its Metacritic, it actually scored all right, really. It's got a 72, which is not bad, like a 7 out of 10, and a user score. It's got a 7.5. So yeah, and I can understand people giving it that. Really, I would probably personally give it like a 6, 7 out of 10. There's nothing wrong with sixes. Sixes are all right games. They just have faults, really. But yeah, I see that, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I get it. I get that score. I understand. Really, I understand if people wanted to give it higher, but I would also understand if people wanted to give it lower. But for me, my thumb scores, what would I give it? Now, my thumb score for its game score, I'm just going to go with, okay, I was tempted to go with a 3/4 thumb up, but now I'm playing it, I'm like, you know what, it's like a good like mid game, it's like, it's not bad. Personally, it might not be totally for me, but it's good. It's worth a play. But a thumb in the middle is what I think it's worth, really. And that thumb in the middle is that kind of like it can be that 5 to 7 out of 10 game part, really. 3/4 can be 7 to like 9. It all comes out how I'm feeling, really, and I'm feeling like, yeah, it's all right. It's not bad, really. As an offering score, well, it's 18 months old. So it's not a bad offering really, but Souls-like games aren't for everyone. Really, they are for some and not for others. So I feel like as an offering score for me, I think it's an all right offering again. Really, it's not too great, not too bad, not too, you know, this or that. So I'm going to go with another thumb in the middle as an offering score. Really, it's all right. Really, for me, but for others, there's going to be a lot of people who lap this. They're going to actually quite enjoy playing this because it is probably, it's probably one of those little kind of like underrated games. Really, I would say people probably haven't played it and they'll play it and they go, oh, you know what, it's not too bad. And for me, with its accessibility options, it does give me like more of a will to actually play through it and go, oh, all right, you know what, I'll see this to the end and I'll give it a try. I'm going to put a little bit more hours into it and go from there. Now on to our second title for February's PS Plus, and our second title is Rollerdome. This came out in August 2022, so another game that's about 18 months old. I remember seeing this when it first came out because it was kind of a little bit of launch exclusive for the PlayStation, really, and I was like, oh, okay, it looks all right, I was like, okay, and I really wasn't really fussed about playing it, but when I jumped here, it starts off well for me. It's cel shaded, has the whole 80s feel and sound to it, so it's just like very cool, really, when you kind of like looking at it. But I thought this was some sort of like open world game before I played it. I don't know why. For some reason, I thought it was some open wasteland thing, and but the word dome in the title, I should have used my head more and realised this is more like a Tony Hawk, really, but with guns and enemies on the stages. Each arena has different objectives to complete, while you have to be shooting every enemy to finish the stage, while also doing tricks and stuff to gain ammo and build up your combo. There's not much to take in really when you're playing through it. Nice thing, you don't have to do it all in one run, so you can go back and redo it. And the game is fun for a bit, but it does start to become rather repetitive, with more or less doing similar things in different locations. I do wish there were kind of like more of these first person moments. I wish there was something more to that, with them something more fleshed out gameplay, really making this game appealing to a few different people, but also probably expanding like into some story of something, but it's not that heavy really. I wish there was something, because they're there and graphically it's really nice, really, with its cel shaded graphics. It's like really they've used a great color palette, really, and I've just when I've been playing it, I'm like, oh god, it looks really nice. Yeah. It kind of just takes me back to the good old PS2 days when when some of the great cel shaded games that we got there, and it was really nice playing seeing it, really, because it just kind of reminds me of my younger days and playing some great games like the original 13, not the remake that came out a few years ago. That was bad. That wasn't good. Ooh. And that stuff, and it does control very well, but I have found myself getting confused with the controls sometimes, but overall they are good. But they could feel like they could be a little bit better when moving about. It does feel like slightly sluggish because, you got jump up, you got your slow-mo, you shoot, this and that, weapons. There's a lot to take in while trying to do tricks to get your ammo and, grind, wall ride, this and that. I'm like, all right, got to get my my grenade launcher to stun this guy, and then boom, boom, boom. So there's a lot to take in, really. So it can get a little bit confusing, and but but one of the biggest shames is that there isn't like a story. Really, it's just complete all the challenges in this one and then move on to the next. Really, I haven't been aware that there's some actual story, really, behind it. Maybe something comes to light as I get through. I've kind of got through like nearly halfway, really. I was tempted to try play through and get the platinum, but some bits get a little bit awkward, a little bit kind of like, ugh. But I do want to play through it. But the sound is great. It has a nice kind of like 80s feeling sound to it, and it kind of just reminds me of just some of the cool 80s movies I like to watch still. And it's very cool with its presentation, really. I just wish it would. I wish it was like open world, like I originally thought it was. Don't know why. You put an open world game, call it Rollerdome. Yeah, but it does kind of. It has little vibes for me. It has like a little vibes of the Running Man, the 80s film, and then what was it called? Was it Rollerball? The 70s film with what's his face? Yeah, I think it was called Rollerball. Been a long time since I've seen it. A long time. It had like felt like a mix of those type thing, really, but with the Running Man without like those big bad guys, but you got to take out enemies and stuff. It just had that kind of feel to me. So it was quite nice to jump into it. And when we look at its Metacritic, it got a 79. And on the PS5, we're just going to do the PS5 scores, and user score sits at a 7.2, so another like 7 or so out of 10 game. And another game where I go, yep, I can see that and I accept that. That's fine. That's not like, oh wow, that's got scored low than what it should have been. I was like, oh, that got scored too high, because there's a lot of games like that. You're like, really, who gave that score? But it is what it is. But when I look at that, I'm like, okay, I fully accept that. That's fine. Now, my thumb scores for Rollerdome. Now, when I'm playing it, I'm like, I kind of play it. It's good, but I feel slightly disappointed with it. So I'm going to go with a game score of I think I'm going to go with even though I love the sound, I love the aesthetic of it, I love the look of it, it gets a bit samey each arena you go to. It kind of, and because of the controls, it gets a little bit confusing and all that stuff. I'm going to go with thumb in the middle, and that's not bad. It is, for me, it's that kind of that low part of the 7 out of 10 where I don't really want to give it a 3/4 thumb up, but I could probably give it a 3/4 thumb up. It's the same with Steel Rise in the game before. I probably could have given it a 3/4 thumb up, but didn't really want to give it too high. It's that kind of like upper 6, lower 7 out of 10 for me. And this one is probably that kind of low 7 out of 10 for me. And it is good, and you will play it and you probably enjoy it, and you're either going to like it or you're not. But for me, I love the look of it, and I love the music to it. It is nice. And as an offering score, well, it's another game that's about 18 months old, so it's not too bad, really. This was on a trial for ages. I'm pretty sure this was like on trial for ages. I never tried it or anything. I think it was one of those early like PlayStation like premium trial games, really, where you can play it for X amount of time. I think it was one of those early ones. I think when it came out, it went on to you could play the trial for X amount of time, and it's another game where I feel like I could go with a thumb in the middle or a 3/4 thumb up. I'm not too sure. I'm still racking my brain, but you know what? I'm going to go with another thumb in the middle. It is 18 months old. I feel like they probably could have given us this. That's the thing. both of these first two games are games I would probably expect to be like the first game, really. Like, I always feel like the first game, in a way, is like the smaller game you kind of would expect to get, and then the second one is a slightly bigger game, and the third game is like your big main one. Boom, this. And these feel like this should be like on the first billing of the month, really, both of those games. So I feel like I missed something out, and I feel like a thumb in the middle for the offering score for Rollerdome. It's fine. It's still like a very good offering, really. But for me, I feel like, I don't know, something isn't right. This should have been the first one. Let's put it that way. Anyway, let's just end it at that. Now here we are onto our final game for February's PS Plus. Now we have got a launch game that come out, Foamstars, the game that was shown to us a few months back by Square Enix and PlayStation. Like, here's Foamstars, here lies a game that no one asked for, but we got. And, you know, when it was kind of revealed, it's just a lot of people just made fun of this game, with it just looking like a bad copy of Splatoon, or the graphics and the gameplay and all that. Well, you can't blame them, to be honest. But I have to say, after playing this game, and I've actually played it for a bit, I've had quite a bit of enjoyment with my time with Foamstars. You know, it's a 4v4 game. There's 8 characters, 6 are playable from the start, and the other 2 you have to unlock through leveling up. Though one you can unlock straight away if you buy the season pass, which in pound sterling it's $4.99, really, and there's all other cosmetics and you can unlock that. And basically with this game you have to foam up the stage to help you move around. You've got everyone has a weapon, and you use it to foam up the stage, really. And you can jump on your surfboard and drive around in your foam, and you have to foam up your enemies to take them out. But don't worry, you respawn if you get foamed up. Basically, you have 3 different online battle modes. You'll find yourself probably playing a lot of the rubber duck battle, as I have, and it took me forever to win my first match. The game does require you to really find that character you gel with, and you will try to stick with that character every time, but unfortunately you can only have one of each character on each team. So if you don't get it, you will need a backup to use. And you know, each character does have, you know, their special moves, and they also have a different type of weapon. So it might do something different, whether it's shooting it kind of like rifle-like, pistol-like, shotgun-like, you know, more of a spray motion, like stuff. Each one are very different, so you have to kind of really play with each one and see which one you really gel with, and you will definitely need to have a backup which you kind of go to. I've played through them all, and there's ones I will kind of go, like, if I miss my main dude, I will jump to the other guy, and it's just, you know, you will have a bit of fun when you play this, but you know, but there lies the problem. There are only those modes. There are only 8 characters. There's not really much content there, really. They have these couple of modes and it's like, okay, all right, okay. There should be something a bit more substance, you know. And yeah, they have a whole like character creation where you can put all different stuff on your character, but it's pretty rubbish with them, you know. And then when you go into the store, there's one you can go in the store where you can actually pay for more items for characters. But when you go in there and then you see some of the actual prices they're trying to charge you for stuff, you're like, what is going on? It's massively overpriced items. It was like some for like 30 UK pounds. It's like for a set, and you're like, why would I spend 30 UK pounds on that? Who's doing that? There's probably some stupid people, but who? I don't get it. And this will be the reason why people get bored, as the prices are stupid. People are like, ugh. And then when you're trying to unlock stuff, it feels like it takes for ages to unlock these things, really. Like the whole leveling up, unlocking these items to either like you unlock naturally, just feel like they take forever, really. And yeah, that was one thing that was really annoying me. You know, the main area you are, like the whole like lobby-ish area, like you're on your own really, where you walk around, you can enter the store, customize screens, and you know, it just feels like a whole empty void of a place, lacks any soul, personality, with actually nothing to really do to keep you engaged. Really, you either go to the store where you pay overpriced items for your character, or then you go to the character customization screen where you can put your t-shirt on or change like your kind of title plate, this blah blah blah, and then you've got an area where you can stick some objects in, squirt some foam, ride around while you're waiting to kind of join a game. That's it. It just seems pointless. Oh, and there's a little DJ booth where you can change the music. Really, that's it. There's nothing else. It's like, at least add some sort of fun mini games or something that's actually enjoyable, really, in there, so you can play around, or even have it where you're with like a load of other people and you can do stuff and have fun, or whatever. That would have been so much more entertaining. But there's also like the other mode. There's a mission mode where you can either play a solo stage, where you know there's 3 of them for each of the starting characters. But they are all the same, really, for each character. You know, just got to beat the waves of enemies from destroying I'm just going to call it a reactor. That's all you have to do. It's very easy, to be honest. Very easy. And it's just like, wow, what was the point of this? There's no, like, it's the same, really. But then you can also do a team one where you can link up with 3 others, and you do the same, but it's harder. And I must say, if you want to finish it on that mode, I recommend playing through the single player and upgrading your character, because you can get upgrades for your character in that mode, really, where you level up certain aspects, really, and you really should do that so you can take on the normal difficulty in the group stage mode and the harder mode, because it gets crazy. I tried it before and I was like, we're just dying, but then once I kind of finished upgrading myself a bit, I kind of managed to just smash through it, and that was actually alright. That's more fun playing with people. But it does feel like they've really missed a massive opportunity with this. They should have really made a kind of like mini single player campaign, created levels for you to explore and play using the gameplay mechanics to its full, using your surfboard to traverse around, jump out, take enemies, actually have some sort of story, but they didn't. They added some boring, already done wave, beat off the waves, that's it. There's nothing to it. I don't see this game surviving unless things are added, soon, and changes are made to keep player engagement. They already fumbled by not giving this game a platinum trophy to achieve. I've managed to get all the trophies, and I feel like there isn't any more point of me carrying on. I like getting trophies, and if I've got all the trophies in the game, and unless I'm playing with friends, I don't see the point of playing anymore. I play a lot of single player, to be honest. I don't play a lot of multiplayer anymore. I'm too old. I've got kids. It's hard to play multiplayer games, really, when you have to sort out kids. It's easier to play single player where you can easily pause it. One thing I also noticed, which was super annoying, it just came to my head right now. When you're doing the solo stage missions, you pause the screen, you pause it, yeah, it doesn't pause the game. It still goes on. So if you wanted to go for a pee, yeah, I need to go pee. I'll pause it because it's solo. You're not playing with anyone. The game still carry on. The pause screen is the most pointless function in that mode. It's like, why do you have a pause screen? Well, so you can exit. Really, that's what it is. It's just like, you might as well just press the button to exit, because you can't do anything else. It doesn't actually pause the game, so you have to finish it. You have to finish the stage if you need to go do something, or just accept defeat and come back and try again, of course. But yeah, it's not great when you think about it that way. They've fumbled a lot of things, really, and you know, it's all right. You know, people may find it being like a Splatoon, and kind of is, but it isn't really. And you know, I think it caught some flack for having some AI generated art. I think that, for me, that feels like it's on the loading screens. I don't know where else. You know, there might be, you know, but when you jump in and play like the online against people, which is actually kind of not too bad, quite fun. Once you kind of get into it, you know, there's a few stages for each one, but it does come rather be repetitive, and they all are similar-ish in a way, really. But it is an alright game. It's just, I think they've just missed the point of having a game like this, and it's a shame, as it's not a terrible game, but it's also not a great game, really. It is a real shame, because I have actually been kind of enjoying my time with it. And you know what? I still don't understand what a Foamstar is. I don't really care to find out as well, but it just doesn't make sense. Nothing's really explained. Or has it, and I haven't paid attention? I don't know. But when you look at the game's Metacritic, it's sitting at a 5.9. I understand why people give it a 5, 6. But when you look at its user score, it's sitting at a 7. But also, I can see the 7. I can see a 5 and a 7. It's not a terrible game, but it's not a great game. There is actually quite a bit of fun to have, but it has issues. And I think these issues, unless things are kind of really thought out and things are changed in this game, this game will die very quickly. Which is a shame, because I've actually enjoyed it. Really, if they had a more extended like trophy list and a platinum, I probably would be playing more to get the platinum, because I'm like, oh, I've actually had quite a bit of fun playing it. You know, there's all like challenges in the game, really, if you want to get more XP or unlock this title, this and that. But that doesn't really interest me, really. It doesn't. Not at all. So that's a bit of a shame, really. But those Metacritics, you know, they're all fair scores, really, when I look at them, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. I fully get it. So what would I go with? My thumb scores? Well, as a game score, as I said, it's not a terrible game, but it's not a great game. It is fun, and it has issues, really. You know, they've had this ball, and they were like trying to make it, and they just kept on dropping it, and they're like, what do we do? Let's just give it. Yeah. Let's just see how it goes. And I think this is supposed to be a beta as well. I'm pretty sure. But I think for a game score for me, I'm going to go with a thumb in the middle. It is like a 6 out of 10-ish for me. And yeah, I can't really say much more on what a Foamstar is. An offering score? Well, it's a day one release for us. Probably not the day one release we want, but it's a day one. But I think Sony need to really kind of really take some responsibility of what they're putting out, really. you know, might have had some agreements like, yeah, we'll take this, we'll help pay fund this, but obviously no one's playing it. This is one of those gas titles, I think they call them this games service, whatever. It is one of those trying to get you to pull up buy crap, really, but not really giving you anything in return. So, but the game's alright. It's kind of fun. So for an offering score, I think I'm going to go with another Thumb in the Middle, really, because it's an alright offering, but it's not great. I could go lower, really, but I'm going to give the game a benefit of doubt because I've actually been enjoying it, really. And, you know, if it had a platinum, I would keep on playing it to get the platinum because I've actually quite enjoyed it, and I would have gone because I thought it did, and I was like, oh, I got to do this. Oh, yeah. And I was playing through it, not because of like, oh, I want to get that platinum, but because I was actually quite enjoying it. I was just like, just making note of like the trophies, and then I actually realised, because I thought I saw it had a platinum, but I was like, oh, it doesn't. That's annoying. You know, would I play through to get all the trophies? Yeah, I did, because I kind of I was getting into playing the game, which is a shame that they've not done these things. As we've played all 3 games, we've spoken stuff we like, we jibbered jabbered, talked nonsense. I've given the game scores, I've given the offering scores. Let's do an overall look at the month. What happened? What went wrong? What went right? Now, we started off the month with Still Rising, a Souls-like game, which has some let's call it just it has an easy mode, so it makes it things easier for people who suck at it like me. It wasn't too bad. I have enjoyed it. It could have been better. I gave a game score of a thumb in the middle and another offering score of a thumb in the middle, so it's all right. It's like, yeah. Second up, we had Rollerdome, cell shaded looking roller skater, futuristic arena Tony Hawk style type game with weapons and stuff. It's an alright game. I gave it a game score of a thumb in the middle and an offering score of a thumb in the middle. Our last game was a launch game, was the Foamstars. The Foamstars, the game that no one asked for but we got. Game I've actually quite enjoyed, in part, and other part felt a bit kind of massively let down playing parts of it, really. I don't see the game surviving, but I gave that a game score of a thumb in the middle and another offering score of a thumb in the middle. And that was a launch game. Overall for February, what do we think? Well, overall score for February for its game score is, well, we've got a bunch of, to me, 6 to 7 out of 10 games, which isn't bad. It's not bad, but it's not great. So I'm going to give an overall score for February for its game score is a thumb in the middle. Now, the overall offering score for the month is going to be very similar. But first up, let's just talk about it. Still Rising. I like to do it as like 3 games, as I was saying before. You got the smaller game, you get a bit bigger game, and then you have your big old main one, really. And I see Still Rising and Rollerdome fitting into the first part, the first billing, you would say. You would say like they're the nice kind of, they're the starter, really. They're the starter. None of them are like, you know, they don't come after, really. They're a good old starter game, but they are both all decent. But then we had Foamstars, which was, people say, when I had a look into it, it was like, oh, it was massively hyped. It wasn't hyped at all. They just showed it off, and that was it. They showed it off maybe once, maybe a little bit twice, but it's just because it wasn't massively pushed and hyped. But it's come to us, and it's an alright game. But to be honest, They should have given us this game, Foamstars, but also given us something else. So this should have been a month where we got 4 games. You should have got Still Rising, Rollerdome, and they would have been your 2 ones. And then you had Foamstars as a special one because it's beta and it's a game, it's a service game. So it's one of those. And then you had another one which you gave us, which is a bit of a bigger, whether it's an old game, new game, whatever, but you gave us something else. So it kind of like whatever you ever thought of like Foamstars, you weren't going to be let down by this one, and you had 2 other ones which are going to appeal to some other people. That's what they should have done, and they didn't do that. But Foamstars is an alright game. It's just not something that should be coming as like the main game because it's not fully there, and it's probably going to die. You know, I don't see there going to be much people playing it in 6 months unless things are done to it and things are expanded, and you know it's got to come to all platforms for it to have some sort of life. Really, this type of game, it's not going to really work just being on PS4. I'm not sure if it's on PC yet. I think it just launched on PS4, but I think because it's beta, I'm pretty sure. Don't get me wrong, I think it's beta. But they have to do more. So my overall offering score for the month is a thumb in the middle. Really, it's just like it's a mid-month. It's like not excellent, but it's all right. Really, I'm like it's a safe month, but it's nothing to boast about at all. Really, you're like it's all right games. You know, a bit of this, bit of that, but compared to the previous month, which I thought was actually a very good month and good start off the year, they kind of slumped down to something they gave us last year, really, and there was a lot of mid last year, sorry. So they kind of went back down. So hopefully, we go back up and they get better. But who knows? I don't know. But yeah, that's it for February's PS Plus plays. Let me know in the comments, what games did you like? What games have you played? Do you think I was talking out my butt about them? Did you actually enjoy Foamstars? Do you know what a Foamstar is? Have you understood it? Let me know in the comments. Anyway, please like and subscribe to the channel. That would be great. I don't really get much time to do this stuff, but there's other stuff I want to do. I have a little bit of free time at the moment, so I'm thinking of trying to kind of just add some stupid kid game playthroughs that I play with my kids, and maybe add them in. Really, who knows? But anyway, take care. Look after yourselves. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Goodbye.